The most anticipated earnings call of the year so far is going to be Tesla. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what's going to be happening this week, all coming up. So Tesla's earnings this week come after hours on Wednesday, the 29th. And yes, it is the most anticipated earnings of the year so far. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on that. But first, I want to welcome you to this channel. Hi, my name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is a crazy and chaotic place, and I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content such as this, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You know what to do. And on to today's topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you my opinion, and then I want to hear from you. Leave some comments down below about where you think Tesla is going. I answer all the comments, and I really would love to hear from you and engage with you in that way. So as I stated before, Tesla is going to be reporting fourth quarter earnings of 2019 on Wednesday, the 29th, after hours. And the conference call for that is going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. What I think here is that investors are probably going to zero in on Tesla's 2020 sales outlook, not so much the earnings for the quarter four, but I think what they're looking for is that they want to see what's going to be anticipated for 2020. Is the Model Y coming out? When's that going to happen? When are they going to start doing deliveries for that? What's going on with China? What are they expecting as far as sales go there? I think that's going to be probably where a lot of investors hone in on and what the reaction might be for the most part. We'll see how that all turns out, obviously, but that's where I wanted to start with. I think that's where a lot of people are going to have their focus on. It's going to be on the outlook of 2020. I don't think there's any question that we're going to see some sort of profit, from Tesla for quarter four. It's just a matter of how much and what exactly we're looking for or forward to for 2020. Now, the expectation here is that, according to FactSet, they're going to be expecting GAAP earnings of 43% earnings per share. Adjusted profit is seen at $1.65 a share. I'll give you my opinion on what I think that might actually end up taking place, what that number is going to look like later on the video. So make sure you're sticking around for that. Revenue is expected around $7 billion, and I grabbed this number from several different sources. There were some sources that said maybe $6.5 billion in revenues and upwards of around $7.5 billion. Grabbed a couple of those, added them all up, grabbed the average, and it was right at $7 billion. So we'll just call it $7 billion in revenue is going to be expected. And as most of you know, there's been a recent rally of Tesla. It's gone off over the last 3 weeks, and we can attribute a lot of that to better than expected fourth quarter deliveries that they've already announced. So that is why there's a lot of anticipation for this earnings call. And surprise, surprise, it caught a lot of analysts off guard. They weren't expecting better than expected numbers, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to they thought that perhaps the tax breaks that were being taken away in the state of California would have impacted those sales, but fortunately they did not. And so that is why we are seeing a little bit of a shock factor right now and why Tesla has surged so much, at least one of the contributing factors as to why it surged as much as it has. Now, what I think Tesla really needs to show off here is the earnings, the outlook, and really everything outside of car sales. There's so many analysts that can't look outside of the fact that Tesla is so much more than an EV company that I think if we can hear something from them from the energy side of the company, what they're doing there, I think that's really what's going to set people off. Also, expectations for the Model Y, I think is really going to set people off, as well as what's going on with the Gigafactory and carrying out, potential sales in China. And as most of us know, especially if you've been watching this channel, that China has gone into production of Model 3 Teslas over there and have been delivering them, but those deliveries did not take place until after the first of this year, so those numbers won't be reflected on the quarter four report. But I would imagine that we're going to see some sort of outlook from them as far as those China sales go as well. And if I can bring you over to Tesla's website and their communication with investors, their quarter four 2019 vehicle production and deliveries, just to give you a brief overview here, the Model S and X production was 17,933. The deliveries was 19,450. Subject to lease and accounting was 14%. They do note that we continue to focus on expanding production in both the U.S. as well as our newly launched facility in Shanghai. Despite breaking ground at Gigafactory Shanghai less than 12 months ago, we have already produced under 1,000 customer saleable cars and have begun deliveries. We also demonstrate production rate capability greater than 3,000 units per week, excluding local battery pack productions, which began in late December. And here's what's probably worth noting as well. Our net income cash flow results will be announced along with the rest of our financial performance when we announce Q4 earnings. Our delivery count should be viewed as slightly conservative, as we only count a car that is delivered, is transferred into the customer, and all the paperwork is correct. Final numbers could vary up to 0.5% or more. Tesla vehicle deliveries represent only one measure of the company's financial performance and should not be relied on as an indicator of quarterly financial results, which depend on a variety of factors, which in my opinion is a very important thing to note. As you guys know, if you've been following this channel for any certain period of time, is that I always go back to the fact that this is more than a car company. And Tesla obviously knows that, and here they're trying to convey the fact that there's more to what meets the eye here as far as, you know, record vehicle sales. Yes, that is huge. That's great. That's what's causing this huge surge right now because of what's going on in their EV side of things. But the energy side is also picking up. The acquisition of Solar City and what they're doing with that right now is very important and something to consider going into this earnings as well. Now, just to kind of give some perspective here, they also communicate via their website that the energy storage deployment reached an all-time high. Additionally, we have introduced Tesla Megapack, pre-assembled at the Gigafactory as a single unit. Such packaging allows for faster deployment and lower overall installation costs. First deliveries are planned to begin in Q4 2019. We also launched a commercial solar configurator for small and medium enterprises with standard and transparent pricing. Solar deployments have started to grow sequentially once again. In Q3, we deployed 48% more than in the prior quarter. And they also talk about Tesla insurance as well, which I'm not sure is really going to be that much of a factor, to be honest with you, when it comes to market reaction and how everybody will see Tesla in the long run. But this is a very interesting part of the business that I think is being overlooked right now that may take a lot of people by surprise. You know, those numbers in Q3, as far as their energy side of the business goes, were very, very good. And so I'm actually curious to see what they're going to look like for Q4, as they were alluding to previously. And I think that that's going to take a lot of people by surprise, and could be, in fact, something that they were not expecting. So those are the facts, and here's my opinion. Tesla is going to have to knock this out of the park. And what I mean knock it out of the park, they're going to have to wow everybody. They're going to have to create that shock and awe that they've been creating. They have to keep that momentum going if we want to see Tesla stock rise up above $600 per share. And here you can see that I have the daily chart pulled up on Tesla, and I think that this is really key and pivotal area right here at $390. $390 was tested multiple times over the last couple of years. And then when it finally broke out this year, obviously it went off. And the real difference maker here was the fact that they became profitable and started to make a huge and giant move with their price per share. We really got close to that $600 mark, but then got rejected. And so right now it's hanging around $560 area. And so what's going to happen here is that they really are going to have to knock this out of the park. Now, adjusted profit is seen at around $1.65 per share. That's what analysts are saying. I think we see at least $2.25. We'll see if I'm right or not. And yeah, we really would like to hear from you. What do you think those earnings per share are going to be as well? Leave some comments down below. Maybe we can have a little game with this and see who comes the closest. But that's where I think it's going to end up being. But I don't think that's going to be the big picture. I don't think that that's what's going to get this stock moving. I think the outlook on which Tesla is projected is really what's going to propel this stock. Getting, you know, the energy side of the business, getting those numbers, where we're headed, what are we projected for China? That's going to be impactful. And then obviously the Model Y being carried out. Where are we looking at as far as production goes on that, and deliveries as well? What's the 2020 outlook for Tesla? What are we expecting here? And we just saw this recently with Netflix, the expectation of future sales. We saw Netflix really kind of run up. You know, the subscriber count obviously wasn't all that great, which caused it to tank the next day, which I predicted was going to happen. And then it surged back up over 350. And so, you know, we can have another conversation about that at another time. But I just wanted to draw that comparison because the outlook that's going to be provided by Tesla, I think, is really going to be telling and really what's going to drive this stock up. If it doesn't, look for for this to drop considerably. I don't, if for some reason Tesla misses earnings or they don't wow us with something, it's going to be quite a fall for Tesla. And really, if you look at the chart from a chart perspective, as much as I'd hate to say this, there really is no support on this thing if you look at the daily until you get to around $400 a share. So $402, maybe $415 look to be decent areas for support, as we saw that dip down below before and then surge back up around those levels. Now, will it come all the way back down to those levels if by somehow they miss some of these numbers that people are projecting? Maybe. I really still have a hard time thinking that that's what would happen, but it's run up so much right now that there's this theory that maybe the price right now has been baked into what we're already expecting. So the price right now is at an area where if they just meet expectations, we probably won't see much of a drop off. If they miss expectations, it's going to drop considerably. And really, for this to move up over that $600 mark, it's going to have to just blow everybody away. So look for, like I said, at the outlook numbers. Look for those numbers that are going to really surprise people and just kind of blow them out of the water. Now, as far as holding any of these overnight, holding into earnings, that's always something that I kind of suggest people don't do, especially if you're a day trader or an active trader. I don't know if this would be something that I would hold overnight, whether you're long or short. Definitely wouldn't go short on this, but anytime you want to hold something over earnings, it's always, you're like playing roulette. Put it on black or red and see what happens. So I would rather probably wait to see if this, how the market reacts after earnings come out on Wednesday. If I decide to hold anything over the earnings period announcement, then I probably would be very, very small. I'm not going to risk a whole lot. Make sure that if you do take that risk, that it's not more than you can afford to lose, as we always like to say. But that's going to do it for me, guys. That's my outlook, my opinion. After giving you the facts and my opinion, now it's time for me to hear from you. So leave some comments down below. I really want to hear your thoughts. Where do you think the earnings per share are going to be? What are your thoughts on the energy side of things? Are they really going to be getting Solar City up and running? And is that going to be just another giant move for them? Or what are the China numbers going to look like? Do you think the Model Y is going to come out anytime soon? Give me all of your thoughts down below in the comments. I really would love to hear from you. And that's going to do it for me, guys. As always, I will see you all before the bell. And B Smith is out. All of this week, and especially today, the stock market has been reacting to announcements that infections of the coronavirus have landed in the U.S. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on where I think the stock market may be headed from here on out.